Hello, welcome back to the channel. So I'm making this in addition to the video that I uploaded yesterday about Sony adding a valid period end remaining time to the purchased games, meaning in other words that you have a limited license on games that you purchase in the PlayStation Store, whether they are ones that of course you have to pay for or the free ones, where you basically have 30 days and the license has to be renewed every 30 days by being connected to Sony's servers. Otherwise, you lose access to the game. And I do want to state I don't know that for a fact. It is just what I assume based off what I am seeing. In any case, I wanted to share with you some comments, not the comments themselves, but just the generalization of them, of people's experiences that they have left. And I'd like to thank those people, as getting different experiences with what's going on here makes it easier to get hopefully more accurate information out to the viewers in general. So we'll be talking about the possibility of this being a bug and not something that was intended, and if that's the case, well, that should still be of concern to anybody that is purchasing digital media from Sony. The games that for some people are affected, others are not, and the kind of odd things that's going on there, as well as my own personal experience with my library. So first up, in the case of this potentially being a bug, there are some comments that I've seen, so in some videos I've watched, where some people are mentioning that it's unconfirmed, but that it could be a bug and not something that Sony intentionally rolled out. Now, the problem with that is, even if it's true and it's a bug and they did not intend for it to be released at this time, it's still there. That should be concerning. This is not like PS Plus games where, yeah, you know you do not own them and they are only accessible to you for while you have the PS Plus service and then they become locked. This is content that you purchase and it's, game period, whether it's the base game, premium edition, whatever. And even though Sony tries to, and of course they have the legal shit in their TOS to back it up, claim that we don't own the games that we purchase from them, which is utter bullshit. That is ridiculous. If you go to a store, you buy something, and you don't own it, do you think that store would stay in business for long? But in any case, that we don't own it, but we do own the licenses to the games, meaning that as long as we don't do something foolish like delete the user that the game was bought on, or that you don't, for whatever reason, Sony suspends your account and you lose access to it and the licenses, whatever, then we are supposed to own the licenses to those games. And so, this would affect even single player games. Obviously, it's any game going forward if this remains a thing, or at least I would assume so. Every game that I have tried, which majority though have been free ones because I'm not giving them more money for than games that I don't even fucking own the licenses to. But I even downloaded, there was some coloring book thing in there that was a free game, and it's got it too. So in any case, this should be a concern for people, because the fact of the matter is, this is a feature they now have on there that, whether it triggered intentionally or was just something that, surprise surprise, got released early they didn't intend because of a bug, it's a feature that they have on content that we're paying them for. So if the servers for Sony ever go down, you don't have access to it for whatever reason, and you decide that you want to play whatever $80 game you bought from them, and it's a single player, you ought to be able to relax and play it, and then you go to play it, and it's locked to you, that's a problem. So that is something that you need to be aware of, and don't give them a pass even if this is just a bug. It shouldn't be there in the first place on content that you own. And I know I saw one comment that mentioned about, well, they're doing pirating games or whatever. I got news for you. If you have a modded system, they aren't stopping you from playing the games. You have ways around that. The only thing that this is affecting is people that are legitimate customers of theirs and are legitimately purchasing games from them. And those people have a right to be able to play what they purchase. Now, speaking of purchases, as people are seemingly having different experiences with this, where some have the limited license, others do not. Some are having oddities along with the games themselves. So I do want to say a huge thank you to the people that have commented with their experiences in this, whatever those experiences are, as it is a big help in order to try to get out as accurate as possible information. so that people kind of know what's going on and how this may or may not affect them. So I did see, and I'll address real quickly, a question about will this affect like physical media. So like say you go out to the store today, you buy a game and you go to install it. And now I can't say of course for certain, I don't know how Sony pulls shit, and obviously they're pulling shit behind the scenes, but I would not think so. A disc copy of a game, that should handle the license completely different. That should be stored on the actual disc itself, but again, I don't know. So I would say be cautious, maybe wait a while, you know. If it came to it from a store, you could return the product, unlike Sony, where after you download something, as soon as you download it, then you forfeited the right to be able to get a refund. So in any case, now some people have commented that on the games that they have bought, like say today, or when this first happened, that they're not getting that countdown clock, the limited license, and others are. And even odder, some of them are the same fucking game. So somebody mentioned a game called Gravedigger that was given free a couple of weeks ago. One person does not have the limited license on it. Another person, however, does have the limited license and then has the limited license on something else that they then purchased, I guess, then today or extremely recently, but even the one they downloaded. And actually, that's going back further than I first thought. I thought this was really only affecting games that were like bought yesterday or within the last few days, as I do have one additional I found that also has the limited license. But the fact of the matter is, it's not affecting everybody, and I'm not exactly certain what the trigger for it is. Again, whether it's a bug or not, I don't know if it could be the updated TOS or not. I thought I saw somebody said they did have updated TOS but did not have the countdown clock on both my UK and US accounts, but the Japan account never got anything, including the PSN message. So again, I can't figure out what the trigger is. In any case, for the people that do have the countdown clock, somebody mentioned that they checked and the countdown clock was on the game, and then later on it disappeared, and they don't know what's going on there. I just checked all of my games that have it, and they all still have the countdown clock. So, not exactly certain, but I am thinking about taking one of the free games, deleting it, re-downloading it to where it gets a maybe updated license, and see if perhaps Sony is maybe doing something on their end of things to correct this with stuff that would then be re-downloaded. Which, in that case, though, I would only suggest not updating, because you could update all the licenses from the menu, but I wouldn't trust Sony as far as I can throw them. In that case, I would suggest whatever is affected, delete it and re-download it. But again, I don't know. That I don't expect that it's going to cause it to go away. And again, keep in mind that they have the feature, whether they intended it to be rolled out or not right now. It's always possible that they could in the future, because it is there. So, in the case of my own experience with games, I noticed that, let me give a quick, I guess, rundown so you understand my gaming experience, how it might relate to your own. So most of all my games are bought pretty far back. I can only afford to get them once in a great while, and so I only have just very few recent games. All the old games, whether they are ones that I've played or I haven't played yet, none of them have the countdown clock. They do not have the limited license, and I did boot up one of them to where it was on the network and played it just a bit, and then checked, and it was perfectly fine. The games that I showed in the video yesterday, which was one that I bought to test this with to see if it was true or not, which was in that sale that they're running, Ultimate Street Fighter 4, it has the limited license. The free game, Edgy Secrets, it has a limited license. And then I found one other that I have very recently bought, but I don't remember the exact date, but it was right before all this shit went down. It was an FMV game called 5 Hearts Under One Roof or something like that. In any case, it has a limited license. So going off my own experience, I would say that if you are somebody that you're finding you have limited license as well, I would expect that going forward with anything that you are purchasing in the store game-wise. And I don't know about, like music or whatever, but game-wise at least, that it most likely would. I don't see why it would only have a limited license on some and not others. One thing that I do know is that if you are getting the limited license like myself and so many others are, that it is on, it's regardless of what the game is. If it's a free game from PSN Store that you're supposed to be able to just redeem, if it is a base game, premium edition, if it's a demo, that people are reporting that it is indeed having a limited license. So, again, some people are having the issue. Other people, for whatever reason, do not have a limited license. It may or may not be a bug, but regardless of that fact, if it is a bug, I would expect it to be addressed at some point, but that does not mean that it may not come back in the future as the intended feature, because obviously Sony has it there for a reason. So I hope that the information in this video proved helpful to you. Thank you for taking the time to watch it, and also again a huge thank you to the people that have been sharing their experience, and that they deserve the credit for anything that may be helpful to you, not myself. This has been a Streaming Freedom Video Bulletin via the Eyes Only Informant Net. Peace out.